Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we are doing a video talking all about the sequel to 2018's Halloween. That's right, the film just came out a couple weeks ago, and it was very successful. It was #1 at the box office for 2 weeks in a row. Now, the sequel has already been greenlit. That ship has sailed, so it's going to happen. As a matter of fact, it was even greenlit before this film even came out, which is strange. You would have thought they would wait to see if the film was successful before they start thinking about a sequel, but apparently that ship already sailed before they even came out with the movie. But nevertheless, it was very successful, and so we are definitely going to get another sequel. Now, this video is going to be talking about that sequel and what direction it might take, or what direction do you think it's going to take. There are many possible scenarios for the sequel, especially given the way that this film ended. So folks, we are going to be talking about spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen it, please do so. Please go see the film, and don't watch this video until after you've seen the film. Now, with that being said, I am going to discuss the ending, so spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So, we saw the end of the film, all 3 generations of Strode women, that being Laurie Strode, Karen Strode, and Allison Strode, all ganged up to take on the monster Michael Myers, the Shape, the Boogeyman. And they trapped him inside Laurie's military bunker that she built. And it was all booby-trapped and set up to go on fire, and that's exactly what happened. And Michael was trapped in there, engulfed in flames, and the last thing we see of him is him looking up at all 3 Strode women, and looks like that's it for Michael. That's a wrap, And then we saw all 3 women drive off, and they all survived, and that's it. It seemed like a happy ending. They finally defeated the madman Michael Myers, and that's it once and for all. So it's kind of puzzling to me that they even are going to have a sequel. The way that ended, to me, it seems they could have just left it alone. And it's kind of funny that I was surprised, actually, that Laurie Strode survived, that Jamie Lee Curtis survived. And now we see all this talk about Jamie Lee Curtis saying she wants to return and do another film, as long as David Gordon Green directs again, and only if he directs it again. So that's question 2. Now, what if David Gordon Green doesn't want to direct another Halloween? What are they going to do with Jamie Lee's character? She survived, What are they going to do? They're just going to write her off without her showing up, and just say she died, So that's a good question, too. And one thing I do like the idea of, I like the idea that the series could continue on with Karen and Allison Strode, taking over for the legacy of Laurie, But given the fact that she actually survived, I wonder how they're going to play that, and there are a lot of different directions they could go in. Now, one direction I was racking my brain about, because I've been thinking about it ever since I saw the movie, is how could they make a sequel. And one scenario I felt could work, and that's the fact that, we see that Michael survives, he's all messed up and beaten up and he's burned, but he somehow manages to escape from the basement there, from the military bunker. And he just decides to get the hell out of Haddonfield, He's like, F this, I'm going somewhere else, where they don't know about me. And I find that aspect interesting. I would like to see him go to some other town and haunt some other town where they've never heard of Michael Myers and they don't know what to do, or how to handle it, or how to handle Michael Myers. And so he starts terrorizing a whole new group of people, a whole new group of babysitters, or, and just creating all havoc and mayhem and murder everywhere he goes. And then the local police won't know how to handle it, and they end up calling Laurie Strode. Call up Jamie Lee Curtis to help them handle the boogeyman. And I think that would be interesting also. And yeah, she could be like the new Loomis character, Dr. Loomis's character, tracking Michael down, trying to take him out once and for all, you know. I think that could really work. And also, I'd like to see on the side a little bit more development in the relationship between Laurie and Karen and Allison. Maybe things are a lot happier for them now, and that is before Jamie Lee gets the call to go take on Michael once again. And I feel like it would be nice to see what happens with their relationship as they get closer, you know, given the horror that they went through in the first film, the 2018 version. And it could be interesting to see them dealing with the trauma, the daughter and the granddaughter, and Laurie trying to help them deal with it, you know. And I'd like to see Laurie kind of getting closer with the family, spending time with them, getting to know them better, making up for lost time. I think that could be really interesting. Of course, until Michael throws a monkey wrench in the works, you know, when they find out he's still alive, he's still out there, and Laurie feels like she has to stop him once and for all because he's going to terrorize the entire, you know, because he's just going to terrorize other towns and kill more people unless she does something about it. She's the only one that knows how to defeat him. So that's why I feel that could work in a sequel, you know. He doesn't have to stay stuck in Haddonfield every time, you know, because it's kind of ridiculous if he does. I mean, you'd think they would know how to deal with this guy by now. They've been dealing with him for 40 years. And all the subsequent sequels. I know the sequels don't count anymore, but come on, we've all seen them. We know he's in Haddonfield every single time, so I would like for just once him to leave Haddonfield and terrorize a different town where they know nothing about Michael Myers. They know nothing about the legend, nothing about the history of what happened in 1978, nothing. So I feel like that would be interesting, you know. Or they could just continue it and do pretty much the same movie they just did and have Michael just come back and go after them and have Laurie and Michael having another big finale and another big epic confrontation. And then have the other two, the daughter and the granddaughter, get involved just like they did at the end of this one. And that seems to me that would be kind of silly, but I mean, it would make money. I know you know it would make money. Either way they do it, it's going to make money. As long as you have Jamie Lee Curtis returning, maybe if you have John Carpenter do the score again, if you have Nick Castle doing a cameo again, if you have James Jude Courtney returning as Michael Myers, we know he did such a great job that they're probably going to want him to come back. I mean, James Jude Courtney was an excellent Michael Myers. He had all the movements down, he just knew the character. He obviously did his homework and studied on the past films and got the best characteristics, the best traits of each performance of Michael Myers and kind of melded them into one, you know. So I just thought he did amazing, so that I would think they're definitely going to want him to come back. As well as Judy Greer, you know, if they get Judy Greer, Andy Manichak, all the same players, it's going to make money, you know. It's just a matter of what they're going to do with it. How's the story going to play out? Another thing they could do is continue it the way that the original Halloween 2 from 1981 played out and have it start directly from where it ended off in this film, you know. And that could be interesting too, just to see, you know, see Michael, literally see him escape the house and have it from like real time, have him kind of slowly track down where they went, you know. That could be interesting too. Hopefully they would have some kind of different scene or different area, you know, like they did in Halloween 2 where it was set in the hospital mainly, you know. Like maybe they could have a specific setting for this film that was different than the last one, you know. That could be interesting too. And maybe you could introduce some new characters. Maybe you see a little more of Andy Matichek's personal life, and maybe she gets involved with a new boyfriend or something, you know. You gotta have all that stuff in there. Maybe she makes some new friends, and or maybe we see her dealing with the trauma, going to like therapy and things like that. That could be interesting too. Or they could completely forget about Michael Myers and that whole saga. They could start anew and do like an anthology thing like they did with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Since so many people love that film nowadays, it seems like it's really grown on people. It might work, you know, at least for some people. Me personally, I'm not as big on Halloween 3 as a lot of people are, but I know some people do want to see something like that. And you could just leave the Halloween, the legacy of Michael Myers alone. We could just leave it as it ended, because I kind of feel like it should have ended right there, you know. But, you know, because if he does survive, it is like, oh, is he supernatural now? Is he going to become like he did in the original franchise with the, you know, 4 and 5 and 6 and Resurrection and all that, where he was like supernatural, you know? Because this version was trying to be more like the original 1978 film, where he was like a mortal man, or at least, I mean, he did have an aura of possibly being supernatural, but now, if he survives this, there's no question about it, he probably is supernatural, you know? But that could be interesting too. Could be like, again, like Halloween 2, 1981, it seemed like Michael was a lot more brutal, and he was a lot stronger, a lot more evil. He really had that personification of evil. And that could be interesting too. But then again, why would you go back to what they've done already, you know? I feel like this series needs to move forward and do something new, you know? And if that involves Jamie Lee, fine, but go somewhere different with it, you know? Don't do the same thing they just did, or the same thing they've done for the past 40 years, you know? Make something new and interesting. Have him in a different setting, a different town, somewhere miles and miles away, somewhere where they don't know who he is. That's, to me, is what would work best, is adding something new to the legacy of Michael Myers and the Halloween story with Laurie Strode. Fine, if you have Jamie Lee, or if you don't, maybe Jamie Lee and Karen and them don't have to be involved, you know? Maybe it's just Michael in a new setting with new people and none of the same characters, you know? That would be fine, you know? That I'd love to see the series go in kind of a different direction for the new generation. Because, again, you know, why does Michael still need to be fixated on Laurie, you know, other than the fact that they got away, you know? Is that the only reason he has for continuing to chase them, you know? Maybe he can just say, fine, and they got away, just let them go, I'm just going to go somewhere else and haunt somebody else, you know? So yeah, I'm really interested in what you guys think. What kind of possibilities do you guys see for a sequel? What do you think they are actually going to do, and what would you actually like them to do? So I've given my piece of what I would like them to do. I want to hear you guys talk about it. I want to hear what you think they are going to do and what you would like them to do. Kind of is two different things in a way. But yeah, leave me messages in the comments below, or do a response video, or whatever you guys want to do. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. So thanks for joining me, folks. Sean Patrick Erschen in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared.